Oh, there we go. Hello, everybody. Let me just make sure I finally got this going. All right. This is my first time doing a solo stream here. Nimer was not feeling well today. Although I do see in the comments, what did I do with What did I do with Nimer? Um, there we go. All right. Oh, I had two windows open. Okay, that would do it. All right, we should be good. Okay. Okay. This is really unnerving. Because like I can hear the stream in a way I usually can't. And but I don't have YouTube open. Let's see what's going on here. Sorry about this, everybody. I feel like I always. There we go. I guess my first time could have gone worse. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Blind Tech Adventures. I am your single host today, Kirt, and I am going to be doing something a little bit different today. I'm going to be talking about accessible gaming. And I called this stream The Future of Accessible Gaming. I almost wish I had called it The Relevance. Because I think there's a lot more at play here than just here's something that blind people typically don't have access to. Oh, yay. Ha ha ha! No, 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 no. Nimer is not dead. Ha ha! Ah, good to see. Good to see Nimmer's shadow, I guess. Making comments here. So, I think some of this actually goes back to the live the life you want discussion we had a few weeks ago, where can you really do everything you want to do as a blind person? And even if you live a great life, even if you're really independent, even if you are successful and happy and thriving, like, is there anything that perhaps could have been different? And for me, like a significant thing that is part of who you are as a human. And for me, that's always been gaming. Not so much because of the specific games, but because of the community and, kind of the social support system and the games. And that's why I'm so excited about what I'm going to show tonight, Hearthstone Access. Because for the first time that I can remember, I can play a decently popular online card game. Used to be really popular. But, I can talk to my friends who are gamers, and, we can talk about strategies, and like I can have those conversations, and I'll be able to play games with my friends, like sighted friends that I couldn't before. So that's why I'm excited about this. But before we get too deep into that, we do have a few articles a few news items here. Let me make sure the order I put these in. So, the Samsung Galaxy S22 line of phones just came out, and one of the main features that's supposed to separate the Ultra and the Plus from the regular Samsung S22 is 45-watt charging, which sounds a lot faster than 25-watt charging, right? Well, Tom's Guide, who they're pretty good actually testing things out most of the time and not just sharing their opinions. I mean, they do some of that, but they at least try and back it up with data. And what they found is that it's really not that much of a difference whether you use the 25-watt charger or the 45-watt charger on the S22 Ultra. Even though the S22 Ultra has the biggest battery of the three phones, it was only like I'll pull up the exact numbers here in the article, but it was only like 3 or 4% behind the or ahead of the 25 watt. So takeaway, at least now, there's really not much of a reason to pay $50 for that extra 45-watt charger. Especially if you have that Ultra. Now, another coming out of Samsung here is we've got a new Galaxy Book Pro 2, and the headlining features of this are 1080p webcam, which is nice to see on a laptop. I'm seeing it a little more often now than I did before, but so there's that, which is good. There are a few other laptops that do that. The other thing, though, is 21-hour battery life. Now, that's getting into like MacBook level. I don't know, maybe I know Samsung's kind of been known to sort of play fast and loose with their battery advertisements. Maybe that's best available under ideal conditions or something. But either way, that's impressive to have a 21-hour battery inside of a Windows machine. So that was... If you want to know more about that, we have the article linked here in the show notes. Now, Apple has an event scheduled for March 8th. And rumor has it it's going to be announcing a budget 5G iPhone, maybe a new iPad. But, those Apple events are always, they always kind of take over the tech headlines for a few days. And so we'll definitely be sharing our thoughts on whatever it is that is revealed, particularly as to how it relates to blind accessibility, because, you can go anywhere else and get the technical details and whatever, and that's not what we want to focus on as much. So, the last story here is we might actually have some. Well, Nimer's not here. We might actually have some competition in the ultra high end premium Android world. I consider the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro to be more feature phones. They're not, I don't think of them quite as flagships on the same level as like the S21 Ultra or S22 Ultra or OnePlus 10 Pro now. This phone was released in China. And OnePlus has announced two things that I think are going to be significant to worldwide viewers here. First of those is by the end of March is when this phone will be released. They didn't give an exact date, but they did say the end of March. Second thing they said is it will be running Oxygen OS. Now, if you've been following the OnePlus, can I say the OnePlus debacle? I guess I can. No one's going to stop me. They were kind of merged into they're part of this big portfolio of Chinese smartphone brands, all owned by the same company. And Oppo has been exerting a lot more control over OnePlus. And so in China, they released this thing called Color OS that was pretty much universally trashed in reviews outside of China. I don't even want to think about what that did to accessibility. If Samsung breaks accessibility and they've got a dedicated accessibility team and they sometimes turn off their Braille keyboard for a few months while they fix whatever they have to fix. If a company like Samsung can let that kind of a bug get released and live in the wild for several months, I don't want to think about what Oppo is going to be doing. But OnePlus, at least outside of China, you can get a OnePlus 10 Pro starting at the end of March. Spec-wise, it looks like a pretty interesting phone. They're trying to change to a more premium type brand. And you can get that with a more stock-like Android experience in Oxygen OS that I do know. I'd be curious if you have any OnePlus users watching. If you'd want to give us a comment about your accessibility experience, I've heard that it used to be bad and now it's a lot better. And I do know some people who are pretty, like people I take seriously who are rocking OnePlus phones. So that might be an option if you're tired of Samsung and Google and don't want Apple. All right, that was the news. Let me just see. Oh, wow. Drink bleach in your life. How's that for some disinfectant? Oh gosh, it would charge faster in the microwave or using nuclear charging. All right, Nimer is telling me he's never seen battery in practice on a laptop last 21 hours. Have you seen the MacBook Pro, the new ones? I've heard, I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen it either. And I personally doubt we're going to see that with this one, but either way, it's probably going to be a good battery. Oh, blind people can't play games. Hello. Hello. Yeah. Blind people can play games. Sometimes. And that's actually a good transition into, I guess, kind of why this is such a personally uh, kind of emotional topic for me in a weird way. In that I I really do think that had I been able to grow up and be able to play the games my friends were playing instead of just have to listen to them talk about them. And you know, I really liked hanging out with people who were playing video games. So I would a lot of times just, sit with the group and they'd be nice and talk to me like, they were my friends. Um, but it wasn't actually being part of the group in the same way that it is if you've got, three people on a team trying to survive for as long as they can, or like a last man standing tournament or whatever. Like, I was just watching from the outside. And I think that was the way that blindness kind of indirectly affected my social. I don't know if self esteem is the right word, but my point is, I think this is a lot more than just, oh, here's a fun way people can spend a few hours. And I can already hear Nimer's voice in my head saying, like, well, we need to prioritize. And it's a very. I can literally hear the inflection of Nimer's voice in my head saying, we're so worried about damn descriptive videos and games when people can't find work and when people can't access decent housing, and when people can't use appliances they buy because they have touch screens on them. Um, so I can hear the argument of, well, maybe we need to prioritize and focus on the biggest thing first and then go down to the second biggest thing. And ha! It's okay, I can cry. Ah, well. you know, um, and I think there is something to that, but I also think there's something to like equal access to what energizes people, and people are going to be more effective working on things they're passionate about. So, anyways, that's why this is a big deal to me. But moving into kind of why this Hearthstone Access is such a big deal. So, throughout kind of the history of accessible gaming as a blind person, it's always kind of been, the big games that everyone's playing. They're not going to be bothered. Those companies aren't going to be bothered to make it accessible. So you have a couple blind developers, uh, maybe just one who's very passionate, and they'll come up with like kind of audio, like not as good mirror images of the games. And I don't mean that as any disrespect to these like people who have put hours into passion projects that actually I have really enjoyed. But it's not the same thing as being able to play the same game everyone else is playing and having it be like an actual household name of a game that isn't a smartphone app. We're not talking about Trivia Crack. So what this Hearthstone Access is, and it was again a developer passion project who kind of made his own patch to the game to where rather than playing a separate, inferior but accessible version, we can now play the actual game. Um, so I'm gonna show you how this works, and go through a couple of matches. The first one won't have a time limit on every turn, so I can kind of explain how things work. And then the second one, I'll actually play somebody. So let me do a screen share here. Oh. Oh. Great. I think I forgot to put system audio on here. Let's see. Can you guys hear me? Okay, here we go. Huh. Did they break sharing system audio? That's very interesting. Oh. Okay. This is very clearly my first time uh, doing this. Trying to actually control everything here. Ha! Does this heartless... Ta! Okay. Oh. So you can hear me, but not the game. Oh, come on. I wonder... Oh, you know what I think it is? I had my screen brightness down to 0%. Let's see if that was the issue. Okay. Thanks for your patience, everybody. No need for audio. Blind people can't hear anyway, that's right. I thought the problem was we had extra sensitive hearing. Oh, come on. Okay, we're gonna try this again. Cheers. Is the screen share muted? I don't think so. Thanks for your patience, everybody. And Yeah, no, there's actually not a screen share. So, this is the weirdest thing. Huh? Oh. Oh, Oh, so I'm using Firefox, and apparently there was a dialogue that I didn't see this whole time. Oh, come on. Wow, so I'm using Firefox for the first time in like ever, and let's see. The alert's not showing up where I'm used to it being. Let's see. Yeah, maybe I should use Chrome or Brave. Does Firefox handle alerts differently? Because like I got a notification that there's a dialog box somewhere, but it's not, you know, it's not popping up where it normally would in Chrome. All right, well, we're going to go to Chrome and actually should have used a browser that I knew worked. So give me just one moment here, and I will be right back with you all. Hello, everybody. Here we go. Sorry about that, everybody. Next time I know not to use StreamYard in Firefox. All right, let's turn off my camera. And now we'll do a screen share. Here we go. This is going to work this time. All right, entire screen. There we go. All right, I suppose I should turn the VDA down.
Rate boost checkbox not checked. Alt plus T. Rate slider 32. Alt plus R.
Okay.
Screen stop sharing button.
All right. Now, so in order to get this set up, you do have to create what's called a battle.net account. And that's how Blizzard, who owns this game, has you log into all of your things. Now, on the Hearthstone Access link I put here, it has instructions for how to set that all up.
Desktop list. Brave 4H. Hearthstone 11 of 41.
So I'm just going to go to Hearthstone here.
Battle.net. Application.
Oh, I need to log in.
Blank. Application. Games tab. E. Shop tab. More items. Change avatar button. Ghost Dragon online menu button sub menu.
Oh, I guess I am logged in.
Unlock
Okay.
friends list. All games button. Add a favorite menu button sub menu.
And I'm just navigating by button here in browse mode.
Game version Hearthstone menu button sub menu. Regions menu button sub menu. Play Hearthstone region Americas version 22.4.3.13312.1316660 button.
Okay, so what this game is it's kind of like Magic the Gathering. Well, there are multiple games in here, but the main one is where, you know, you have a hand of cards, your opponent has a hand of cards, you all have different kinds of decks and, you know, different kinds of characters. So, I'm going to play.
Launching Hearthstone unavailable. Playing now Hearthstone.
All right. Come on.
Pull up a chair by the hearth.
Okay, so now we've got a menu. In just a minute.
Space. Battle.net or StreamYard.net VDA said StreamYard raised.
Sorry, normally.
Hearthstone row 1.
Wow.
Stream button studio.
This is interesting. So normally I have arrow keys that work.
Hearthstone. A.
Okay, let's exit and start again and see if
StreamYard clickable button mute mic battle.net applet stream battle.net menu button play Hearthstone region menu button play
I wonder if it's because StreamYard. Let me try minimizing StreamYard.
Stream system members to move side minimize N battle.net application menu button play Hearthstone unavailable on Hearthstone.
Come in. There's always something new here in the end.
Oh, you know what might have happened? Another thing that may have happened is so occasionally Blizzard will update the game. And whenever they do, this guy has to, like, patch it again, and so it takes a day or two. That might be what's going on here.
Battle.net applet stream.
All right, let me
clickable
see
button mute micro
here.
button link complementer clickable.
I wanted to show you all this, but...
clickable menu button sub menu more option no next heading. Blank post a cloud of edit and post comment list clickable button toggle but blind tech adventure 7:37 p.m. turn browse mode off. Toggle button clickable button clickable toggle but blind tech adventure 7:36 p.m. Wait, you can't blow anything up in this heartless stone.
Oh, you can blow things up.
Toggle but blind tech adventure 7:34 p.m. I can't hear your screen share. Lol kidding.
Ha!
But clickable toggle but blind tech adventure 7:33 p.m. Hello.
Hello.
But clickable button comment action.
Okay. I don't think that was the issue,
Battle
but I'll
application
try.
button play Hearthstone button unavailable. Playing now Hearthstone.
You're back. Come tell us a story or two.
See, it's off. Okay. Now is where I should be able to use the arrow keys. Da-da-da-da.
Menu button, submenu up, battle.net news, playing now, Hearthstone button unavailable.
Huh?
StreamYard for StreamYard, NVDA, Mozilla, settings for Hearthstone, row 2, column 4, 7 of 7.
See, because it doesn't announce it, but usually it'll put you in this window here. And like normally I'm supposed to be able to press F1 and that'll give you like accessibility help. But
Volume level 92.
yeah, no F1. Other than
Volume. Volume level 51.
that's weird that it's changing my volume, so that's telling me that I think in the last
Volume level 93.
probably 5 or 6 hours since I played this,
Volume
they must
level
have released
95.
an
Volume
update.
level
Whoa,
97.
what is it doing? Stop.
Start window. Search with Hearthstone row 1. Battle.net StreamYard toggle clickable button comment actions. Button blind toggle clickable button blind toggle clickable button button blind toggle button not press show comment and broadcast. Clickable button out of list on post out of hand list with 14 click toggle but blind tech adventure 7:40 p.m. turn NVDA offer use bypass. Toggle clickable button star.
Yeah, well, if I turn NVDA off, I will be screwed. I'll try to start it up again though.
Taskbar.
Bypass. I don't actually know the NVDA bypass command. But I mean, I'll try. Okay, well, let's find it. Oh, okay. That's cool. And while I'm here... Oh, that's annoying.
Rate 0.
Whoa.
Rate 20. Rate 25. Rate 30.
Okay.
Desktop key column 2 NVDA. Out of table heading left task stop sharing button. NVDA Hearthstone row 1.
Alright, so we'll try the bypass.
Pass next key through.
And no joy. I really think that in the last 6 hours they rolled an update out. That's the unless the screen share is somehow interfering.
Volume stop sharing button.
Hide
link stop sharing button. Caps lock on.
Oh.
Pass next key through. Hide link. Stop sharing button.
What's interesting though is now
Hearthstone Pastor stop sharing. Hide link. Stop share.
Wow, like when I something screwy on my laptop because like when I do Alt D, it doesn't go to an address bar. And Control 1 or 2 isn't
hide link. Stop sharing button. Hide link.
That's cool. Nor is Alt Control N working.
Stop sharing. Hide link. Stop hide link. Stop hide link. Stop share. Hearthstone row 1. Hearthstone.
Let's see if I
NVDA 2000 table reviewing text link heading level toolbar address and
Oh, ha.
StreamYard the streaming
Let's see if I can go to the address bar without.
hide link.
Huh. How come I can't do Alt D in StreamYard? This is the weirdest thing.
Bottom blank. Stop sharing the hide link. Stop sharing the hide list. Stop hide list. Stop hide.
Oh, did I change review modes on accident?
No previous review screen or object or no next no previous review mode.
Why isn't there a document
Stop sharing
review
hide
mode?
link. Stop sharing button. Hide link. Stop sharing button. NVDA StreamYard hide link. Stop hide link. Stop share hide link. NVDA Brave Rewards button. NV search tabs toolbar. Stream hide link. Stop hide link.
Fun.
Stop hide link. Stop sharing button.
Okay, I'll stop the screen share. Hello. Whoa. Do I have two of me?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, you can't, in the share screen window, you cannot. Oh, let me turn off my phone. Shut up, phone. When you do a screen share, it opens up its own window.
Yeah, but I couldn't exit out of it.
No, you can. You just have to Alt-Tab away from it. It's its own window, but in that window, you can't go to the address bar or do anything else.
Sure, but when I Alt-Tabbed, I didn't think StreamYard was there.
It is there.
Okay.
It's just two windows. The screen share pops out its own window.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, and in the window that screen share pops out, that what do you call it? It doesn't let you go to address bar or do anything else. And hello, everybody.
Huh. Hi. Well, I'll end the screen share or mute it. Oh, you beat me too. Okay. Wow, this is harder than I thought it was.
What's that?
Finding the right mute button for the screen share.
The screen share is not in the stream right now.
Oh, I thought that's why there was an echo.
Is there an echo? I don't hear an echo.
There is for me.
Oh, no, I don't hear an echo.
And I only have one tab open.
Nope, definitely don't hear an echo.
Oh, there we go. No, that's weird.
Your screen share is not in the stream and it's muted. Are you imagining things there, Kirt? Kirt, are you there? Kirt looks like he's gone.
No, Kurt's here.
Oh, now you are. Okay. So, for whatever reason, you were removed from the stream, so... There you are.
Yeah. Well.
You're back.
Yeah, I think they must have updated it, or it doesn't... Whatever the case is, it doesn't want me to screen share this right now, so I'll have to figure out what the heck is happening. And then maybe on my own, once I figure this out, I'll just do a recording and post it to the channel. Because... Like, I'm in the window, and it's definitely a lot... I'm betting they just updated it, but I don't know. So, maybe this will work tomorrow. I'll look into it, and then I'll post a more, a more just clean, straight playthrough of the game on its own video. I think that's probably the best way to do it.
Sounds good. Well, I will demonstrate a word game here in a second. Let's see if I can keep my voice long enough.
So, you know what was interesting? When Hearthstone was on, I couldn't hear, like, it wasn't just drowning you out. It, like, I couldn't hear you. Like, you weren't just quieter. It was like, it would only do one.
It's because you weren't in the stream. I probably removed you from the stream.
Okay. Cool. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for your patience there. And
okay,
there you are.
So the game is called Semantle. Let's see if I can pull it up here.
Ha! See you, Mr. Marco.
What happened?
Ha! I just saw him saying as riveting as this has been.
Marco's a fucking dumbass. I don't care
Oh, okay.
what he has to say. I think he just comes here so he can laugh and just spout shit. And look at what he's turned his own whatever podcast he's done into. He's turned it into a let's mock a bunch of scammers and waste a bunch of people's time.
I mean, in fairness, there was a lot to laugh about tonight.
I don't think so. Sometimes tech shit happens, but all he does is just come on. Anytime he comes on, he has nothing valuable to say. Just wants to mock shit. And people who do that piss me off. So if you're one of them, thank you, but fuck off. So there's the link. I just posted the link to the word game in the chat. By the way, if I'm not being very nice today, I'm not feeling good, so I don't really give a shit. I don't,
this is not how I
care.
feel, by the way. I just want to say. Nimer is speaking for Nimer.
That's right. I always speak for myself. I never claim to speak for anyone else. All right. Let's go ahead and share the screen. And I will do, let's see here. Share screen. There we go. Entire screen. Share. There we go. Okay, so let's turn down the speech rate, I suppose.
Rate boost off.
There we go.
Rate 35. Rate 40.
And I don't know, people don't like eSpeak, do they? We'll switch that.
Select synthesizer dialog. Synthesizer. Combo box eSpeak and eCo. Windows 1 core.
Semantal document, but for case.
Okay, there we go.
Banner landmark heading level 2 Semantal.
So this game, Semantle,
Semantle. Button rules. Clickable button close.
So it's relatively accessible. You can read the rules if you want, but the idea is that you're going to come up with words. You're just going to, in the beginning, pick a random word, and for each guess that you type in, you're going to get a number, a percentage. And that percentage is how close are you to that word. The ideal is that you're going to, guess the correct word. And you know how close you're getting to the word because it tries to assign a number based on how close to that word or the meaning is. So if you guess the wrong word, it'll give you a number, and that number signifies how far or close you are based on that word's meaning. So you're supposed to find the word, and your guesses are getting you closer based off of if you're picking words that are closer to the meaning of the actual word. So
heading level 3 guess the secret word. Each guess must be a word of any length. Each guess must be a word
of any length.
Some short phrases are also allowed. E.G. San Juan or ID.
Okay, so
the game will tell you how semantically similar it thinks your word is to the secret word. Unlike that other word game, it's not about the spelling, it's about the meaning. The similarity value comes from word 2vec. The highest possible similarity is 100, indicating that the words are identical and you have one. The lowest in theory is -100, but in practice the lowest is something like -34. By semantically similar, I mean, roughly used in the context of similar words, in a database of news articles. Secret words may be any part of speech, but will always be single words. It's tempting to think only of nouns, since that is how normal semantic word guessing games work. Don't get caught in the trap. Since our word 2vec data set contains some proper nouns, removed all but lowercase words from the secret word set, and if your word matches the secret word, removed all but lowercase word, but for case, you win anyway. So if you want to know if the word is more like nice or link nice, you can ask about both. The getting close indicator tells you how close you are if your word is one of the 1000 nearest normal words to the target word. The rank will be given. If your word is not one of the nearest 1000, you're cold. Non-capitalized words that appears in a very large English word list. There are lots of capitalized, misspelled, or obscure words that might be close but that won't get a ranking. Get marked with.
Alright, so I'm not going to keep reading these boring ass rules. Let's just get playing. Kirt, do you have a guess of a word?
Guess edit blank.
Oh. I'm just any word.
Any word.
Any amount of letters?
Any amount of letters.
Okay, let's do father.
Father. Okay. Let's do father. So I just type in the word and I press enter, or
guess button.
I can tab to the guess button.
Guess edit blank.
And it puts it back in the edit box, so if I want to know how close I got, I actually have to read the
button. Get clickable number, clickable guess, clickable similarity, getting close 1, clickable father -3.46.
Okay, -3.46.
Cold.
And it says cold, so we're quite far away from the actual word.
Separator. Button give up.
And there's a give up button, so if we always want to give up, we
Content
can give up. And the idea is to try to guess the words in as few guesses as possible, but you might end up with a bunch of guesses, and that's fine. So
Guess edit.
Oh.
let's see. Let's guess engineer.
Button. Clickable number. Click. Getting close. 2. Clickable engineer. Minus 3.9.
Okay,
Ha!
engineer is not close.
Guess
That's
edit.
Arthur.
Yeah, a little bit, not much. I think yours is a negative something too.
Yeah, like
Okay, another guess.
bacon.
Bacon. All right.
Getting 3. Clickable bacon. 20.45.
Oh, okay. We're getting closer.
Cold.
And it's negative 100 to a positive 100, right? I heard that right?
Yes. So this is still cold. It's still not super close. But we are getting a little closer.
Guess edit.
Let's see. Well, bacon, that signifies, I don't know, pig. Let's say pig. See what happens.
Get it. 4. Clickable pig. 5.6.
Oh, no, that's farther away. Okay, it's not a pig.
Cold. Guess edit.
All right. Your next guess there.
Huh. Plastic.
Plastic. Okay.
Get clickable 6.4.
6%. Okay. I'm going to keep going down this bacon theme since we got a little closer with it. So we'll just
Guess
say breakfast.
Get sig. Clickable breakfast 7.97.
Okay.
Get
Well, it's not that. So maybe it has something
blank.
to do with a food theme. I don't know. Your turn.
Huh, yeah. What if we were to do eggs?
Okay. Eggs.
7. Clickable 11.13.
Okay.
Cold.
So that's 11.
Blank.
Maybe it has something to do with appliances or something. Maybe skillet. Somehow bacon is a little bit closer than some of these, so we have to figure out how that might be.
Get 8. Clickable skillet 14.7.
Okay, we're slowly climbing up. That's what you
Yeah.
want. Although we're still quite far away.
How do they rank order every word?
Guess
That's crazy to me.
It's more about, how semantically close that the word is, how, what the meaning is. So they tries to assign a number, and the important one is once you've hit a word that's in the top 1,000, closest to that meaning. So.
Okay. What about chair?
Chair. Yeah, you might sit on a chair to eat bacon, I suppose. Chair.
get 9. Clickable chair minus 0.29.
Oh no.
Guess
Well, let's see. What do you do with bacon? Tomato. How about tomato, huh? Tomato?
get 10. Clickable tomato 8.6.
Oh no, it's not tomato. I was thinking of BLT.
Guess edit.
Not that though.
Blank.
Wow, this is cool.
It's very riveting, isn't it?
Let's try another meat. Let's do ham.
Okay, let's try ham.
11. Click 7.1.
Oh, nope, not ham.
Guess edit.
Oh.
Let's go with, let's try, let's see, have we tried food yet? Just food. Let's try food.
12. Clickable food 13.60.
Okay.
Guess edit.
Put bacon's
blank.
higher than all these.
Yep.
Okay. Huh. What about supermarket.
Okay.
Click 11.38.
Oh.
Guess blank.
Let's try maybe farm.
Fort clickable farm 10.8.
Nope, not a farm.
Guess
What about
blank.
I'm thinking Canadian bacon or Tricure.
Cure. Okay.
Button 50 clickable cure 6.84.
Oh.
Yep.
Guess
Thinking bacon.
Let's see. What do you do with bacon? Do you fry it, maybe? Fry?
Yeah.
I think we tried pan. I don't think pan worked. But we'll try fry, I guess.
clickable 8.4.
Nope.
Get blank.
Hmm.
Wow.
Maybe. Yeah, so as you can see, you can really get, you can do this for a while, and I have guessed a few of these, and other ones I haven't guessed, so I think it's just a matter of getting lucky and hitting on the right words.
Thinking of the right connection between things.
Exactly. Yep.
What about
Nope.
Canada or Canadian?
Canada? Okay, we'll try Canada, I guess.
Get 7 clickable 3.
Nope.
Clickable Canada 3.57.
Nope.
Get blank.
Let's try candy. There's like a candied bacon, right?
But row 2, column 2 clickable candy, column 3 8.72.
Nope.
Guess edit. Blank.
Turkey? There's turkey bacon?
Okay, turkey.
Column 4 getting close, row 2 column 119, column 2 clickable turkey, column 3 5.4.
Oh.
Nope.
Guess edit. Blank.
Maybe we've just gone down the rabbit hole of food and it has nothing to do with food in the first place. Maybe it has something to do with...
It wouldn't have like names of people. Would it like famous people would name bacon?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
Let's try... Let's see. What's a random word? Computer. I don't know.
But column 4 getting close, row column 2 clickable computer, column 3 4.99.
Oh.
Okay. Well, that's not as far away as it could have been.
Yeah.
Guess edit. Blank.
Still not very close.
How is bacon the closest, but all of these things farther away? I don't get it.
I don't know. I'm sure we'll find out if we hit the give up button.
Yeah, well,
Maybe we'll give it a few more guesses and hit
Yeah.
the give up button and see what happens. Let's see.
I'm thinking like bringing home the bacon, but I might not be understanding how this works.
Let's try... Philosopher? Wasn't there a philosopher called Bacon?
Yeah.
But column 3 clickable similar, column row 2 column 121, column 2 clickable philosopher, column 3 6.9.
Oh.
All right.
Guess edit.
So it's not philosopher.
Blank.
What about... We've tried now. What do they call those big pieces of bacon, like in England? Are they like rashers or?
I don't know. Let's see. Don't they say bacon gives you a heart attack?
Oh yeah, that might be a thing.
So let's just maybe try heart. I don't know.
You.
There we go.
Table, row 222. Column 2 clickable heart, column 3 8.98.
No, it's not heart.
Guess edit. Blank.
All right. I don't know.
What about like? I'm just trying to think of something other. What about like law? I just thought of a random word.
Law. Okay. Law.
Guess table with row 223, column 3 0.48.
Okay, that's farther away.
Yep. All right. Well, anyway, you get the idea. It can be a fun game. And so let's hit the give up button and see what happens.
Give up but Semantal dot.
Hmm?
Are we both going to be like no
Can't,
dot?
okay.
Yep.
Semantal.novelist.org says. Semantal.novelist.org says dialogue. Are you sure you want to give up? Semantal.
Yes, sure.
Column 4, cold, clickable. Guess the secret word. Each guess must est. Unlike that other value, identical. Guess button. You gave up. The similarity to other words. You gave up. The secret word is value. Feel free to keep entering words if you are curious about the similarity to other words. You blank stats table with 7.
I guess some people value bacon.
Column 234. Edge of tape. Column 1 first game. Row 2 total days played.
Yeah,
Row 3
I don't
wins.
understand that.
Row 4 win streak. Row 5 give UPS. Row 6 did not finish. Row 7 total guesses across all games. Edge of table.
So you can see the stats there after you go through this game. So anyway, yeah, it can be a fun game.
Yeah.
And there we go.
Cool.
So let's stop this
Streak.
screen share.
I could actually see that being kind of addicting.
Yeah, certainly can be.
By the way, I looked up the Hearthstone thing, and they did indeed roll out a patch today. So that's why it wasn't working. Like, every time they roll out a patch, it breaks accessibility until the guy updates his patch.
That's not nice of them.
No. See, even this, it's like not real accessibility. It's just like workaround. So
Yeah, that's not good.
but once that gets fixed, I'll put a demo up on here. So
Cool.
yeah.
All right. Well, any other games you want to demo?
Oh, not at the moment. I think.
There are quite a lot of a lot of games in general. I guess my problem with a lot of the games out there for the blind are they're pretty unrealistic, and the ones that are not for the blind are generally kind of hacky accessibility. Like they're not really truly fully accessible. Like you can kind of sort of play them, and they got kind of sort of have some good audio. There's Of course, there's that last part 2 or whatever on the Xbox, I think. There's there's a few games that kind of have a little bit of accessibility, but game design is not really prioritized accessibility at all. And even things that should be more accessible, some of the puzzles or card games or whatever, are just not accessible. So, I'm on board with trying to do what we can to make things accessible no matter what they are. You're right, though. I know that you said that you had me in your head. I would tend to prioritize other things over gaming. I think, we are in a really bad place and our world is regressing, and I know that I tend to look at things maybe a little bit more negatively than the average person, but I feel my life has gotten so much shittier because of the loss of access to literally everything that we have had. It's no longer feasible to go out and buy a washing machine that you just put bump dots on and the thing becomes reasonably accessible. It's no longer feasible that you can just randomly go to the store and buy an oven and expect it to be accessible, or a stove or whatever. It doesn't have knobs. It's no longer the case that you can just walk into an office and do generally most of the work because the basic equipment's not accessible. It's no longer the case that, even something like, I want to go fly with my guide dog, you can't just show up to an airport and get on a plane anymore. You have to fill out a shit ton of paperwork. It's getting to be, and some of these are little things. Some of these are like, oh, okay, you just do this one thing and it's not a big deal. But throughout the course of a day, these things add up and they potentially have the impact of, causing someone to not have a job. So I really, 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 really think that we need to be prioritizing those things above gaming, above audio description. But as Americans especially, and I guess the rest of the world too, a lot of people are kind of led to to have a brain that is just constantly consuming this, consuming that. And we just stopped giving two flying fucks about anything that actually is important. And I'm not saying everyone, but it seems to me that way. It seems to me like if it's not on TV, if it's not on Netflix, it's not on TikToks, it's not important. And that just, it's just a fucking shame. And so yes, I definitely would want to see more priority given to more important things. But nonetheless, as a philosophy in general, I think everything should be accessible, and that includes gaming. And yes, I do think that having accessible games can help with isolation and decrease loneliness and improve reaction times and do all kinds of things that are good things. So sure, we should have accessible games.
Yeah, and I guess my only I don't know if it's a rebuttal or just like it's what I was thinking is I think a lot of times things have effects that you don't really understand. Like, I mean, what could my life have been like if I had been able to be more equal with my friends? And I I'm kind of a good that there are a lot more dramatic examples of like who's to say what somebody values as the most important thing for them, and if they if it makes them end up being more energized to have more energy to contribute to these other things. Like I just think things can ripple.
Yeah, they absolutely can. And like I said, I do very much actually see the benefits of gaming, and just as I do of a lot of things. I think that if you are isolated, then having access to consumption, gaming, media, whatever, is really important. And hell, that can be someone's job anyway. So I very, very much do see the benefit of that. I just don't see the benefit of that on top of, all the other things that we've completely lost access to or are losing access to. And it's like, I have a lot of friends that I'm very alien with now because it seems like people are just fine. Oh, I'll just get help from this person. I'll get help from that person. I'll just use that app in someone else's eyeballs. And people are okay with that. And the whole idea of being autonomous and being independent has just flown out the fucking window. Like, we used to have these conversations about how this is important. And now we have the conversations about how it's important to know your options and use IRA and use whatever sighted assistance that you have, and rely on your mother to drive you wherever you want to go, and rely on your sighted boyfriend or girlfriend. and that's fine if that's you and that works for you. Completely fine. I have no problem with that. But that isn't and shouldn't be the reality for every person.
Yeah.
And we've just lost so much access that we need to figure out how to get back.
Yeah.
And it's like as every day goes by, it's getting more and more too late. Because once we give up some things, it's very hard to get that back. And once we start going down the road of giving up more and more and more, people are kind of like they're getting exhausted and they're like, oh, well, what's another thing? Okay, I lost access to this. And it's the same. Like a lot of cane users didn't really care anything about guide dogs losing their access to
Yeah, that's
airplanes.
unfortunate.
It didn't bother them. And so it's like, oh yeah, it just affects that little group. Oh yeah, it just affects that tiny little thing. Oh yeah, well, I have a working microwave and I can find one from Hamilton Beach that has Braille on it, so I don't really give a shit. Oh well, I can get this Amazon Basics microwave that's crappy, but I can get a Braille overlay for it. That's not a big deal.
I'm laughing because I have one and it is crappy.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
It's like actually the crappiest microwave I've ever used. It takes like 10 minutes to make a fucking pizza.
Yeah, it's very underwated, very underpowered, and and so if people already have these solutions working for them, people will just stop giving a shit about actually trying to improve things. And they're just like, well, I have this solution, it works for me. I'm kind of in the same place with microwaves. I have a microwave that has 2 knobs on it. What I have works for me. Problem is that stuff is getting a lot harder to find.
Yeah.
And you're limited by choice to the one microwave that has that feature. It's not like you want to go buy a microwave, then you get to choose like everyone else based on the features of that microwave. And we've talked about this before.
Yeah, it's
and so I don't want to rehash something we've already talked about, but I will say that when it comes to prioritization, very much think that we need to be prioritizing that stuff above gaming, above media, above TV, above audio description. And that's not to minimize the importance of gaming or audio description, because I think it is important. But we haven't prioritized the other things.
Yeah, I mean, I think people tend to work in the spaces that they are, you can't make everybody put their effort into the same thing, right? So, like, how come I
But
just
as
don't
as a blind person and as as a community, and it's like I've heard this said, and I probably said it myself, like, you represent yourself. You don't represent a community. You represent yourself because it's fucking exhausting representing the community. You can't represent everybody. And it's true. You have to represent yourself. But at the end of the day, as a blind person, we have to figure out ways to come together as a community to push for those things that are really important. So you know what, Kirt? Gaming isn't very important to me. I don't give 2 fucks about gaming. But because I know that it's meaningful to you, because I know that it's meaningful to some blind people to have accessible gaming, I feel like I should be part of that movement to try to get accessible gaming. Why? It doesn't impact me. I don't give 2 fucks about it. But our community is so small that 1 or 2 people here or there don't have much of an impact.
Yeah.
And if we are so fragmented and we can't agree on what we need, we don't get shit done. We lose access.
Yeah, well, and so here's the thing. I think even if you were to prioritize and be like, yes, I see that, but I don't necessarily think that means, like, some people are going to be better at working on, like, priority level 2 or priority level 3, and they'll be a lot more effective working there than if they tried to work on priority level 1, because they're just, like, they don't have the aptitude for priority 1, or they're more, maybe they're more into programming than engineering or whatever. Like,
I absolutely get that, but also when a person, loses their vision, one of the struggles that they run into is, I want to do the same things that I was doing before.
yeah.
And right now, there is so much that a person can't do. Not unless you have a person to help you with this, and a person to help you with that, and a person to help you with that. It's a really big fall from being an independent person, generally independent. I mean, everyone is interdependent. We all rely on each other for certain things. That is absolutely the case. But, the things that you were independent with, now all of a sudden you realize, oh, actually, I can't do it. And it takes a lot more brain power to figure out which microwave can I buy. It's not about the features. It's not about the look.
Yeah.
It's strictly about is the goddamn thing accessible? And that shouldn't be the case. And more, we're losing access to more and more things. It's not as if it was just microwaves. If it was just microwaves, I wouldn't be having this discussion. You know? Okay, you want to use your microwave? Fine. You know, there's plenty of ovens that you can choose from. But it's all things that we're losing access to, really. I mean, look at how hard you had to struggle to set up your Windows computer. And you're a reasonably techie person.
Oh, thanks.
It's true. You're a reasonably techie person. You've even worked in the space.
Yeah.
You know? And yet a reasonably techie person still struggles to do some basic task like setting up a computer.
So it felt like the struggle there was more time than like difficulty, which is still a thing.
I would say it was both. Yeah, it's both. You know, it's a little bit harder for you. You know, you had to tab around, and there was a lag, and there was this, and there was that.
Sure.
And there's also the time factor. And then, of course, if you were a Braille display user, you know, if you're a deafblind user, you wouldn't be able to set it up at all.
Yep. Yeah, that's true.
In many ways, you know, maybe that's not a great example of moving backwards, but there are quite a lot of examples where we have certainly moved backwards.
I don't think that's a good one because 5 years ago I couldn't have done that at all. Or before Windows 10. Or when did Narrator first come out? Windows 7?
Windows XP.
Could you set up? Was it good enough to set up Windows in Windows XP?
I certainly did.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't call it great. I think some people would probably struggle, but yeah, I certainly did.
Even that wasn't that long. I mean, that was kind of long ago, but what, 10 years?
Yeah. The whole generation of computing hasn't been around super long anyway.
Yeah. But I mean, I see your point, and you're not wrong. Like, there are plenty of... I mean, I'm lucky that I live in a place where I can complain all I want about how I have to go put quarters into the stupid washing machine, but it's got buttons I can feel, and I know what button does what cycle. Like I'm fortunate that there's an older washing machine I can use.
I mean, in the best case scenarios for washing machines, you've got one of two things. You either have one that has knobs that somehow you can figure out a way to tactily mark up, but that still probably requires eyeballs. But you can do that, and once it's marked up, hopefully the dots don't fall off and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Or the other solution is maybe you find one that uses an app, but then you still have to struggle with the whole pairing process and the fact that you need your phone for every single task of that washing.
Yep.
And that's hopefully the app remains accessible, doesn't get an update the day before you need to do your laundry, so on and so on and so on. I don't think these are really solutions.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I am lucky.
Can you imagine,
that
you have a bunch of guests coming over tomorrow?
Yeah.
And you have an oven, you have an oven that relies on an app, and the day before you're supposed to be using this oven, your app gets updated, and maybe you have a wedding tomorrow, and you're supposed to be doing a bunch of cooking, and now all of a sudden your app became inaccessible, and your oven's inaccessible.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's... and that could happen, and things like that.
It does. I hear all the time where people have these, what do they call them? These Instant Pots. And people are like, oh, this Instant Pot app got so much worse.
Yeah.
I hear this all the time from people. There's nothing to stop it from happening. And a lot of the apps are very barely accessible anyway.
Yeah.
If at all.
Yeah, it's true. And I think I need to remember this because my personality is, I tend to not mind. Like, if there's a workaround and I'm like, okay, I have to, do this thing that takes 3 extra steps. The stupid fan control software on my computer is not easy, but I can use it. And like that maybe doesn't bother me as much as it should because I'm just like, well, I can do it.
It's just that all those not easies add up, and there are some things that can't be done and some things that are not easy to be done. And in a whole day and a whole year and a whole decade, All these things add up, and they
They
take
do.
away from your willingness to do more things, to try more things, to all that. Why? Because you're having a struggle to do just the basic things. And if you're struggling as a techie person, how do you think a non-techie person would deal with it?
Yeah. But see, to me, I don't necessarily. Um, I mean, you're right, but it's. I don't necessarily see it as struggling as much as like this thing is taking a little bit longer. Which,
Well, it is a struggle. I mean, when you first tried to do it, you said it wasn't accessible.
oh sure,
I would certainly call that a struggle. If you're needing to find workarounds to do some basic thing, that's definitely a struggle. And when you do figure it out, the fact that it's taking you so much longer to do it, or okay, 10 seconds longer, but if you do this
yeah,
thing, a few times a day, hey, that's 10 seconds here, 20 seconds there,
yeah.
30 seconds there. It all adds up.
It does, it does. But at the same time, I feel like that's
And for
part
you,
of
your 10 seconds is probably a less techie person's probably 2 minutes.
sure. But and that I think that's what I'm like because in my mind I kind of value that 10 seconds as like, oh, I learned a thing that I wouldn't have otherwise known. Like that's kind of how my personality is. It's like, oh, this thing happened with StreamYard today. Well, that sucks, but hey, I know a lot more how that website is laid out now as like the only person hosting than I did before, you know? And it was a struggle, but it was like it was worth it. Um Now, maybe that's a dumb example, but like I think I have to remind myself that people shouldn't have to do that. Like, that's not because you're right. That does take a lot of people a lot longer.
Yeah. And there's a lot more people than you and I that would love to demonstrate things on YouTube to get out their skills in doing whatever, and because of these technical issues are not getting their voices out there.
Yeah.
Because of these accessibility hurdles, their voices are not being heard.
Yeah, I mean it's true. And yeah, I think we agree there. That's a like massive problem.
So, that's why
Yeah.
Nimer, that's why you hear Nimer's voice saying,
Yep.
hey, I think we should prioritize X, Y, or Z. I absolutely think that gaming's important, and I do think we need to focus on that, and I'm willing to, help promote that and all that.
Sure.
But also, yeah, I try to keep things a little bit more in perspective of there's a lot of really basic things that people have struggles with.
Yeah.
And I don't really call gaming a basic essential thing. It's fun, it's cool to do, it teaches skills, it
Yeah.
improves connectedness and decreases loneliness and all that. All those things are really important.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's in place of being able to eat food and do your laundry. And not everybody can afford to eat out Uber Eats and all that all the time,
Right. Yeah. But at the same time, like, we could prioritize, we could zoom out farther and be like, what is the thing the world needs most right now? Like the biggest existential threat to the human race? And why aren't you working on that? If that's like, why aren't you working on climate change, Nimmer?
Well, the thing is that we've got a bunch of scientists that can't even agree how real climate change is.
Sure, but I mean, pick any other example. Why aren't you worrying? Why aren't we working on? I don't want to make this a political thing. I was just.
Oh, I'm saying it's generally the case with anything. That's why blind people aren't prioritizing things that are really important too. Is that we can't even agree on what that is. You and I can't even agree on what that is. You think we should be doing gaming and watching Netflix.
No, I think there's room for all the things, and I think all of the things kind of like.
And I guess I'm saying in our small community with our small little bit of influence, which barely exists, I don't think there's a place for everything. I think it's too easy for us to get distracted and pulled in directions that are important to do, but they don't They don't fix some of the issues that we have. If we had a much bigger population, that we're all connected together, 8 billion people or whatever, even 5, 6 billion people, let's say 2 billion of those aren't on the internet. Okay, let's all work on different areas and things that interest us and whatever else, but we don't hold that much influence in government, and we have a small population. Those who are even connected at all, those who even watch this YouTube stream, that's a tiny number.
Yeah, it is.
A very, very small, tiny number. So then if, 5 people watch this YouTube stream and 4 of them decide to work on completely different things, how much impact do those individuals have in any one thing?
I mean, I would rather have people work at what they're good at instead of I'm trying to think of an example,
I absolutely think people should do what they're good at. 100% agree. What I don't agree is that we should be doing that as a bunch of blind people doing that. Because the fact that you're focused on one thing and I'm focused on one thing and someone else is focused on one thing, we're focused on our own individual needs, kind of like the loudest voice wins, and none of our voices are loud enough to actually truly make that big of an impact.
Yeah, but I think if you had all of the voices working on the same task, it would be worse because you would have 80% of people getting in the way of the 20% of the people who are competent at engineering or competent at programming or know how to do advocacy.
Yeah, that's already the case.
Yeah. And I think it would be worse if you were everybody drop your own things and only focus on this one thing together, united.
But at least everybody's voices would be heard. You still need to have somebody to, people to actually try to figure out what people are actually. This is common in tech world, and when I talk to somebody and what they're saying to me is, I want help reading my mail. What I'm hearing isn't that they need help with their mail. I'm hearing that maybe they have a lack of training, maybe that they have a lack of awareness of how they can do this task. I'm hearing that maybe we need to improve the way that information is delivered through these apps, that maybe instead of just reading a full stream, that we can sort of break things up to make it easier for people. That's what I'm hearing. The message that gets across is, I'm having a problem reading my mail. So you will always need the people to actually, to have, that are able to kind of separate the noise from the overall message.
Yeah,
but at least you're getting things done. At least by the end of the day, if a bunch of people are saying you need help reading your mail, and you can do things to improve that, well, then at least we get a really damn good mail reading experience.
So, you just said two things that seemed like they contradicted. You said everybody's voice needs to be heard.
Absolutely.
But then when isn't that what you're saying the problem is? Because people are using their voices in ways you'd rather they were saying something else?
No. I'm not saying that at all. I think people can use their voices for whatever they like. What I'm saying that I wish people would do is choose to use their voices for things that we all can unite around. Instead of everybody doing individual things here and there, using their voice for this, for that, let's try to unite around a few big problems and fix those big problems.
And I agree with you a lot. There's I haven't wanted to do gaming episodes before much, and maybe here and there I'll do something, but I don't think that should be the focus of our podcast. I think
I wouldn't have a problem if we did make it a focus. I wouldn't have a problem if we did have a gaming portion of our.
Sure.
I think gaming is important.
A portion, right? But I think we agree there. I don't think it should be. I think there are other things that we need to talk about more.
And that's exactly what I'm saying in terms of where we put our focus on improvement. Accessibility. That's exactly what I'm saying. You just said exactly what I've been saying. I think gaming is important. Let's focus on it. Let's prioritize it, but not to the same extent as we're prioritizing other things.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think I agree. So,
Yep.
cool.
Let's see. Now that I've pretty much completely lost my voice,
Oh, dude. Yeah, I got you
I think,
started. I'm sorry.
no, that's okay. Not a problem. We haven't had anybody watching in about half an hour. I think,
Ha!
people probably.
Yeah, but sometime later someone will look at this and they'll be like, this is
Yeah,
either
maybe.
interesting or a waste of time. Like,
Yep. Exactly.
it's fun anyhow. So,
That's another thing. Maybe I'll bring this up at the beginning of a podcast to make it better for, some people to hear about it. But our numbers are actually seeming to be declining.
okay.
And so I'd be interested to see, from
By a
our
lot?
audience. Yeah, it seems to be from our audience. What it is. What are you looking for? What are you not happy about? What are you happy about? I know that we haven't really done as much advertising, but
Yeah.
it's also been a push of mine to get people subscribed so we don't have to do all that extra advertising.
Sure.
And so if you are watching this, share this out with your friends, tweet it, and tell everybody that you can to subscribe. And feel free to leave us a comment if you disagree with how we're going about things. If you disagree with me telling Marco to go fuck himself because he's an idiot. If you disagree with me taking over the stream when Kirt starts talking about gaming, or if you disagree with Kirt's whatever nonsense that he spouts, bullshit, whatever, if you disagree with anything like that, if you don't like something, if you don't like our speech rates, whatever, let us know.
Yeah.
We'll try to do what we can. Otherwise,
And if there's any specific
specific
content you want
topics
us
or
to
something.
cover,
That's right. Yeah, if you have any specific content you want us to cover, let us know, and we'll try to do that. I mean, the idea of this stream was always that it was kind of a niche podcast anyway. It was not intended to be a replacement for all the popular blind bargains and BBQs and all these things. There's a billion blind podcasts out there. So, let us know what you think of the content. Let us know what you think of the cast if you get this far. And if not, then I guess we don't get any feedback. We'll know that you either don't give a shit about it or you didn't listen this far. And, there we go.
We ought to put together we have email, but back in the BTG days, it seemed like we were a little more, I don't know, had more feedback channels that people could use.
We can set up an email, maybe some kind of a website/email form of some kind. We can do that, set up a feedback form, and you can always reach me at Nimer Jabber on tweet, and my email address it's a public-facing one that goes out to all the lists, is the nimerjabber1@gmail.com. I know Kurt's given out his Facebooks.
Yeah.
Stuff. So you can definitely reach out to us or just leave a comment on the video. Literally just go down, there's a comment button. So leave your comment on the video. And we will try to respond to that. Speaking of comments, there was a comment last week.
Oh, cool.
And this was from new comment from Unboxing the M16. Let's see what it says.
Oh.
This was from Paul Ellis. I wonder if he lives on Ellis Island.
Yeah.
Hi, nice laptop. A bit out of my league. Can you recommend a decent budget laptop which will work with NVDA and will not run slow and break up speech when running? The issue of breaking up speech and running slow is usually not a function of how fast or slow the laptop is, as much as that sounds counterintuitive. It's usually a function of shitty audio drivers and audio enhancements. Because even your i5, and I would even say your i3, as long as it has a sufficient amount of RAM, which I would say should be about 8 gigs, if you've got a machine that's 8 gigs of RAM with an i3, it will still run most of your apps just fine. I would tend to go for an i5, better for longevity, better for just, a little bit overall, a little bit more snappiness. But even your i3 these days is more than powerful enough to run whatever you'd like to run for the most part, unless you're doing more gaming or you're doing more, computational stuff in Excel or something like that. But for the most part, web browsing, email, music, whatever, your i3 is just fine.
Yeah,
your
and
i5
it'll do Excel. It'll just do it slower.
Right, and your i5 is just, it's kind of a middle good sweet spot. When choosing a laptop, you want to look at other things. You want to take a look at the keyboard and make sure that you're okay with it, or that you're okay using an external keyboard. You also want to take a look at the speakers and figure out if you can live with the speakers, or if you're okay using headphones. You want to take a look at the port selection, make sure that it has the ports that you need, or if you're willing to live with dongles. You want to take a look at the amount of RAM. That's probably the biggest spec that I would say. You want at least 8 gigs. Make sure that you're running a solid-state hard drive, which most of them are, a solid-state drive. And storage, unless you store a bunch of things on your laptop, doesn't matter as much. You can easily get an external hard drive for cheaper cost than it would take to actually upgrade the SSD in your laptop. So it just depends on you, but I would say, it doesn't matter as much. Yeah. Your audio, that's going to be a little bit harder to test in the store, but usually the manufacturers will let you disable the audio enhancements or completely uninstall their default whatever driver they come with and just use the default Windows driver. So you can do that in the device manager, and that will sometimes improve things. But yeah, the issue of audio cutting out and stuff sounding choppy is usually a function of audio drivers and not usually a issue of laptop. You could also get an external audio card, external sound card. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know. What thoughts do you have on that? Am I way off there, Kirt?
No, I don't think you're way off. I would add to that, and maybe this is like just I don't know if this is something most people do, but when I go to buy a laptop, I always try and look for last year's model on sale. Like this machine I just got, I could not have bought at normal price when it came out 10 months ago. I like to go buy them from like Best Buy or a store where I can actually go in for 2 reasons. One, because you can actually see the machine there, but also they've got a return window. And usually, I feel like if there's some, and maybe I'm wrong, Nimer, but it seems like in my experience, if there's something on a machine that's going to make it very unusable, I'll know in the first 2 weeks of using it, and then I can just return it.
Yeah, yep.
So.
Yep. You can also, possibly try out audio stuff in the store as well. Maybe a little harder to do, but if you want to bring your own headphones in, you can always start up Narrator and play around and see if the audio starts being stuttery and choppy. Yeah, so, it's also if you're low vision, of course, you would care about the screen size. So those are things to care about as a budget. You could probably usually save some money by getting the non-touch version of a laptop rather than the touch version if you don't care about having touch. And usually you will have to get those directly from the manufacturer because Best Buy tends to have a lower selection of laptops.
Yeah.
You won't get all the selection there, so you probably have to get those directly from a Dell or Lenovo or HP or whatever. And you can get the non-touch and usually save a good $100 to $150 over the touch models. But yeah, I would say, those are probably some tips. I don't have, specific models for you because it really is going to depend on what you want to do with the laptop and what kind of keyboard you want, how big of the laptop do you want, what kinds of things do you care most about, is it battery, is it speed, is it whatever. If you give us a better idea of all the things you might be looking for, maybe we can hunt around and come up with something. But
yeah, and maybe a price range too, if you're comfortable.
Yeah, and a price
with that.
range. Yep.
And I will say, looking at laptops, I used to say I have a hard time finding a good Windows computer for like under $1,000 unless it's like used. I mean, like mid range, but like I feel like you can get a good, not just like budget, but you can get a good mid-range Windows machine now for like $800-900, and then like the 700-600 ones are better than they used to be. Is my thought. I don't know what your thought is on that, but
Yeah, I mean, I've actually seen really pretty decent, reasonable machines at that $500 or $600 price range.
and it didn't used to be like that. I don't think.
Like you can get easily an i5, some cases an i7, 128 gig SSD, 8 gig of RAM. You can easily get something like that these days for, about $500-600. There's going to be some trade-offs. The display might not be as good. The keyboard might not be as good. Whatever. There might be some trade-offs with that machine. There's always going to be some kind of a trade-off. But it might be a little more bulky than your very slimmed down, expensive machines, which actually is probably good for heating purposes. But
Yeah.
anyway. Yeah, so just some things to think about. Kind of what trade-offs are you willing to live with? Every laptop will have them, even expensive ones. They will have their trade-offs. So which ones are you willing to live with, and which ones are you willing to say, okay, yeah, I need to absolutely have this. So, all right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's probably it for now. I'm going to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Kurt,
Thank you
great
for
being
coming
with
on.
you.
Yeah. Thanks for powering through.
Yeah. Everybody else, good connecting with you. Marco, I hope you hit the dislike button.
I don't.
I know Kurt disagrees with me, but feel free. I'll just go to your whatever that blind scam biting adventure thing, whatever, and hit the dislike button there too. Very good. You like? No, Marco knows. I give him a lot of shit.
Yeah. I feel like we're all used to it by now.
Yeah, Marco knows I give him a lot of shit. He gives me shit back too. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I popped into one of his chats the other day, and I was trolling him, having a good time. So I shouldn't be too surprised that he popped in here. Anyway, fuck off, everybody. I mean, have a good day. See you all next
Same
week.
thing.
Exactly.
Take care,
See you next
everybody.
time. Goodbye.